Good afternoon. This afternoon I decided suddenly this morning that I was going to make a little basket, very similar to my uni handle, which I made some years ago, and I thought to myself, I'll do it in a different way and I will do it smaller. So here we are. So those of you who are members of Sew with Trisha will get a free PDF in the group. It is not there yet, but I will put it on later today, and you will be able to download it. Anybody that has an email won't get one today, purely because it's Sunday. It's Lindsay and my day of rest, and any emails, etc., will not be answered today. But come tomorrow morning, Monday, and we'll be back on it. So, this is our shape. We need two of them. So we need two pieces in the outer fabric, two pieces I'm using fusible fleece for the back, and two pieces of lining fabric, and that is all you need. So this is what we do. We're going to put our two pieces right sides together and line those edges up, and we're going to sew across what will be the top of the handle. So 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm just seeing if I am live on here, but it's not telling me. We must, oh, there we go. Right, I can see, oh, there's quite a few people watching, which is lovely. And it is layer cake friendly. This is what I made with my beautiful Riley Blake fabric and my long 1/4, so a 10-inch width. I had some left, so I thought I would make this cute little pouch. So this particular fabric is included within my subscription boxes, which I showed you on Friday. And as I say, a whole width of fabric made this, and there's even a little bit left over. So this is what we do. We stitch using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm just going to stitch across the top here. I am going to do just a standard 2.5mm length seam and stitch across there, and then we can open that out. Just set that aside for the moment and take our lining fabric. Now it is a very quick make, and I'm sure as soon as you've got the PDF you'll want to make one. It's going to be ideal for Easter. Easter eggs will pop in there, or it can be a little sewing caddy on your desk when you are stitching away. Oh, that was a little bit fast. That's fine, my foot went down onto the pedal too quickly. So I have my one outer piece opened out to the right side, and I have my lining fabric, which I'm going to place that right side down so that right sides are together. I'm going to line up that top seam here, and oh, as I've got one close, I'll put a binding clip there, and I'll perhaps put one down here to start off with, and I'm just going to now sew around the curves along here. So let's just line that up just there, and carefully, because we're going around a curve, so just slowly or fairly slowly. My fabric's catching there. That's it, that's better. Come around this curve like so, and all the way up to where the seams meet. So I'm a bit heavy-footed today. So just line that up, and then you can just push that or pin along this allowance, along this seam line, just to get those lining up beautifully, and go as slow as you like, or as quick as you like, but just whatever speed is right for you. So again, on the other side here, line those seams up, and we'll put a binding clip just there to hold them together, and I'll put another one down, just lining up at that side, put a clip there, and start from this side, again with our 1/4 inch seam allowance. Don't know why that's catching there. I might have some 505 spray from earlier, because although it is our day of rest, I still end up doing something. Right, so I have been busy this morning. There we go, and just pull that around there and round to this other side, keeping those seams or those edges nicely aligned. So now that we have our two pieces stitched purely around the curved edges, we're going to turn this to the right side. So let's just push this through, and if we start pushing like that, get that lumpy bit there, which will be the handle, and then you can pop your finger inside there, pull at the fabric, a gathered piece, like so, and then you get a bigger piece, open it out, and that comes through really quite nicely. Now, off camera, I am going to just give that. Now, you could have clipped around the curve, which probably you should, just to give a nice edge. But in actual fact, I'm going to press this off camera. But if we just pull those edges out, like so, and just finger press it down to start off with, and then the same on the other side. Just pull those out, make sure this lining lines up at the bottom so that you know all your pieces are exactly the right size and in the right place. But as we've got that long curve, it's not essential, as you've seen, to actually clip into those, but it's a good idea to do just that. So if you bear with me for one moment, and I will just press around those curves. It is easier to do it at this point rather than wait right until it's finished, because you can actually get beautifully around those curves to give a lovely finish. So there we are, I've just pressed that, and isn't that fabric absolutely stunning? So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to open up one side there, so you've got the lining fabric and the outer fabric, and we're going to pop those two sides right sides together. So I'm going to, you can press one way and one the other, or press both on top of each other, but make sure those seams align. So I'll put one pin for that back piece there. Now the other thing I should have done earlier is to actually just cut out, I'm going to cut out a square at the bottom here. So I'm going to do exactly the same. Just put a pin at this end, like so. And then at the other side as well, we can open out both those fabrics. The handle is in the middle there, just pop that out of the way, and we can align that seam there, one way and one the other. Let's pop our pin just to hold those seams down, like so. And then down here, we're just lining that bottom edge up as well, and this is where I'm going to cut out. Now you cut whatever size you like, but I am going to have a 1.5 inch square, so which gives a nice base. So I'm just going to cut one out to begin with, and grab my scissors. I'm going to move that pin up there so they're still nicely aligned, like so, and then rather than measure another one, I'm going to put that piece on there, and cut through there and around there, and I'm going to use the same piece, because if you've gone slightly larger on one piece, you'll just get larger and larger, and you want these all to be the same size. So I would have my pin exactly where I want to cut. So I've popped that on there and cut down there. Take that one again. Just make sure they're lined up beautifully. Down to the bottom edge. Put my square on top and cut around that square. Okay, that's better. So we're ready now. So what we're going to do, we are going to stitch down the sides along the bottom edge and along the other side. So align those edges at the bottom, under the needle we go, and I'll just reverse it that little bit just to make that nice and firm. Take that pin out as we go. Just make sure they're nicely aligned too. And down to the end and slip. Then we'll swivel 90 degrees and we'll go along this bottom edge here. So the same 1/4 inch seam allowance, straight across the bottom and trim, and then up the other edge, just pushing those, just, yes, they're aligned. Take that pin out and then make sure the lining fabric is aligned too. Take that out and clip. Now along the bottom edge we're going to leave a gap, and the gap is going to be as large as we can get it. So if we just line that up and we reverse at the end, and I'm going to do 2 or 3 inches there. Well, no, not even 2 or 3 inches, an inch or so, just so that it comes around the corner and cut. So there we have our outer fabric and our lining fabric at the other side. I'm now going to open up these cut out corners. Put your finger in and pull it apart, line up the bottom seam and the side seam, flatten, pop a clip there if you would like to, and then stitch across that bottom edge, or that short edge there. That's flattened it a bit too far. So we'll start sewing. I'm going to take that off and just go, just making sure those raw edges are nicely aligned, and across and cut. And then the same for the other side here. Finger into that hole, pull it apart. That seam is going that way, so my top seam is going the other way. And again, I just press my finger down on it to hold that firmly together, and then we'll just make sure the seam is lying flat, 1/4 inch across the bottom, reversing at the start and the end. Then we go to the lining fabric and we'll do exactly the same. So we've got 4 corners which we need to box. So align those seams. This one is always easier to do because it's softer, as there's no lining in there, no wadding in there. So just making sure those are lined up, those raw edges, otherwise we shall have a hole. Let's just have a look. Yep, that's still fine. And the same with the other corner. Line those up. That was going that way, that way. Lay it down, flatten the rest out of the way, and we will stitch across there. Now how quick is that? That's 15 minutes that we've taken already. Okay, so now we have the strange shaped box. All we're going to do now is, with that hole there in the lining, we're going to, probably the handle you'll come across first, but we're going to pull it through the gap and just twirl it around, and you're pulling out a little bit at a time. Pop that in, and there we have the rough shape of it. So let's just pop it to the right side, and then through the gap in the lining you can pop your finger in there just to push out the corners on the outer fabric. So push that one out as well, and then I'm going to, so you can see what it's looking like, quite cute. Turn it back to the wrong side because we do just need to close the gap here. So push those corners out too, making sure they are fully stitched. And then we've got a very short seam to close here, but I like to put my fingers at each end, fold in that 1/4 inch and just finger press along there, swivel it round to the other side, push that in, and you can line that up with the other edge and push in that 1/4 inch and nail press along there. Once you've got those two together, we're just going to stitch across that seam there just to close the gap. So I'll start with a little reverse and then carry on across, and just always making sure that those two edges are aligned, otherwise we'll have a gap. Clip that thread off, clip just there, and the bit that we started, there we go, on the other side. Give that a little tug. One of these days there is going to be a gap there, but easier to do it now and redo that seam than to get it completely finished and think, oh bother. Right, turn it to the right side again, fingers into those corners so that we're pushing the lining into those corners. Then you can either leave it as it is or top stitch. Now I find it easier to top stitch here. If you've got a free arm, if you can take the extension table off, fine, but I find it easiest now to turn it to the wrong side so that I can now top stitch like this. So I'm going onto here and I just do a slightly longer stitch, and I'm just going inside. Let's just come in just a tiny bit further. So if I push that out of the way, so I am actually top stitching on the right side or the outer fabric, and just keep pulling that around. And because we pressed it before we put it all together, it just makes it so much easier. It's just lying nice and flat, and we can just keep pulling this around as we go. And I'm doing it about 1/8 inch in from the edge. You can do it closer, you can do it at a wider top stitching distance, but we aren't actually making sure we're not closing any gaps, so it can be whatever you want it to be. Okay, so just clip that there and just there, and then we'll start on the other side as well. Tend to start near the bottom here rather than at the top. So again, under the needle, get the thread out of the way, and we will start stitching again. So I've just increased my stitch length to 3, so it's just slightly longer, or if you've got more time, you could do a nice decorative stitch all the way around. So I'm just pulling this as I go, so that curved edge doesn't actually appear curved, it feels like it's a straight edge, and I'm just going totally along that edge and trying to keep a good distance, an exact or the same distance the whole way round. And we're just coming up to where we started. And if you do 2 or 3 stitches over the first few stitches, you won't even see where you stopped and started. Right. So nicely stitched around there. Get those threads out of the way. And there, let's take that out a little bit now. So there is that lovely, cute little pouch ready for a nice Easter egg or your sewing equipment. Okay, and matches beautifully the pouch we have here, which is the pouch that there'll be instructions with the subscription boxes, all on the website. So at the moment I haven't got any spare fabric of this, but should there be, I shall pop it on the website for you later. But that is it. I should go now and just finish off the PDF for all the Sew with Trisha members. If you're not and would like to join up, it is actually £5 a month. It's on the website to join up, or you can pay an annual fee of £55, which is basically 11 months for the price of, no, 12 months for the price of 11. And you get, this will probably be, this is just an added little extra. So more often than not, when I do a live, not always, but quite often like this one, if there's a PDF to go with it, those that are in the group are the ones who get it for free. I could probably pop it on the website, but I may not. So thank you for joining me this afternoon. I'm now going to have some family time, and I'll see those members on Tuesday. So take care and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye for now.